What's up, y'all? Thank you for coming. So I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our two student readers. Typically for this, the person who's in my seat picks one reader to read alongside them, but I was very taken with the work of both of these folks, and so I asked if I could pick two, and they let me. So shout out to me being unable to count. So I will read their bios, and I just want to say, like, the work that I had a chance. It was really a pleasure to get a chance to read all the student work, but these two, for me, kind of rose to the top because I think they had an incredibly well-developed voice, and work that had a real vision and a real empathy, it was just like a pleasure to be able to read you guys. So I'm excited you could be here. So Felix Lecocq is a third-year undergraduate at the University of Chicago, studying English language literature and creative writing. His journalism has been published by Teen Vogue and Londoner magazine, and his poem, To the Boys Growing Up Without Names, won the Sliced Bread Poetry Contest in 2018. He is the former managing director and current production manager of the performance art group, the Underground Collective. And then Urvi Kumbhat is a fourth-year English and creative writing major from Kolkata. She currently serves as the editor-in-chief of Blacklight magazine and has been published in Rigorous, Vavaya, and Red Wedge magazine, among others. Felix will read, followed by Urvi. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, I'm Felix. I guess you knew that. Okay, I've got 5 poems. And this first one is the one that won the Sliced Bread Poetry Contest over the summer. It's called To the Boys Growing Up Without Names. I wish I was a necromancer, but my words are magic empty, and you'll have to figure it all out without me. I'll write you recipes without measurements and hold your hands where you left them, pressed on bus windows, countertops, $1 bills. I leave my love on all the walls. This poem is a secret only you and I and everyone else will understand, and I hope you will forgive me, but I didn't know how else to reach you. One day, you and I will sit on a concrete beach, and there will be nothing between us but our words and the smallest fragment of Lake Michigan. One day, the world will stop feeling squeaky and sour like watermelon skin, and breathing will stop being a part-time job. Until then, I will write and read for you and dream of yellow lighthouses, and I will love my mother so that you won't have to. This next poem is called Phone Call. I call my grandmother from the Ellis bus stop so she can hear me, and she tells me what it is like to grow up with ghosts, which are a lot like chickens, except that they can see in the dark better, and they're a little bit smarter than most chickens, but not my great-uncle's chickens, who are bred to fight and are cunning and agile, with tangerine feathers that glisten like sun-stained glass, and if you are lucky, you can grab a feather from the ground without one of the chickens biting you, because they are vicious creatures, just like the ghosts in my grandmother's childhood garden, who dance and throw rocks at night, because being dead is boring, and there isn't a whole lot to do except scream and freckle the darkness with yellow light, and my grandmother calls it Vietnamese television because ghost watching was something to do at night when it was hot and the air held your neck and the black leaf canopy held all the heat hang down while the world waited for rain. This next one is called Ode. I hope you realize, you don't, that there is no way out of the skin you taught me into. You taught me to be lonely and yellow. I'm tired now, and all the windows make me nauseous. It's easy to believe, or not, in canned laughter, the nuclear family, if only I cared enough to try. Mother, please find a way to keep the garden without me. The indigo tomatoes need more water than you think. I'm tired, thank you. I will forget to write. I'm sorry, I will forget. This fourth poem is called February. I want to love you, but my body keeps getting in the way. I want to love you, but my body keeps getting in the way. I want to love you, but my body keeps in the way. I want to love you, but body get in way. I want love, but body get in way. I want love, but my body keeps. I want to love you, but my body keeps. I want to love you, but my body. I want love, but my body in the way. I want to love, but my body. I want to love my body. I want my body. I want to love you. I want love. I want. This final poem is called Holocene, and content warnings, I suppose, for apocalypse related to climate change and homophobic slurs. Holocene. The infallible Becky T from Bio says, the world isn't going to end today, or tomorrow, or even in 200 years. And I think that I must be the only person who has a subscription to the New Yorker these days, so I grimace into my Americano as the guy she's with laughs like a church bell. I imagine them dying young and oh, so bitter about it. And I briefly mourn them before I leave for class. It is such a relief to be queer and to have learnt the art of dying young. I will be so thankful to wake up at 40 years old in a bathtub of teeth. Oh, how Becky T will beg me to teach her childlessness, how to live horribly and hypothetically like the rest of the wretched. She will ask me how I bear it, the hunger, the radiation, while we wear disease like a scarlet silk robe. It is too hot for velvet. Dance in the acid rain. We don't feel our skin. Luxuriate in the fallout, the glamour of climate. Didn't you know bioluminescence is the new black? Those poor kitschless bastards won't ever touch how fantastic it feels to be devastated. We, drag mothers of the apocalypse, cast our cockroach children into the rising ocean, watch them swim and learn to swallow, loving the water with their bumbling innocent faggotry. When the end of the world comes, it will be agonizing and gorgeous, a slow electric dusk aching the horizon in all its amber openness. When the end of the world comes, I'll be standing on my back porch with you, with my hand on your shoulder. We will face the godlessness together with all of our houseplants freshly watered. Thank you.
That was so beautiful, Felix. Thank you. And thanks everyone for being here. I'm gonna read 3 poems. This first one is called Far Away from Home, I Am Hungry, after Jane Wong. We wake to find our lives have been quartered. We hold at bay the knife just a little longer. Such tedious operations in repair. We begin to stitch. Downstairs, my mother slices a guava. How do I tell you what it is to eat a guava sliced by your mother? How do I translate its constellation of seed, tart white flesh, a quicksilver moon, this and every afternoon? There's more. Roll the drums. This is the swarm of a deathless summer. Boil the water, fry the bread. We bite into raw tomatoes in between meals. We sack the ripe curve of its flesh. We demand its red underbelly. Juices dribble, the lick of a child. Ant hills of rice. My grandfather making a hole for ghee. No one's allowed to not eat. There's so much stitching to do from this distance. But in the meantime, someone grate the carrot. It's time for halwa. Nani surveys the kitchen. We gather all the ginger we can find. Someone claim the coconuts, gently crack open their heads. Someone pass the rotis to the dog. Someone watch. The gravy is boiling over now. We understand no love that is not in excess. Here are galaxies of sugar. Here are spoonfuls of kacha am to lacerate your tongue. More, please. Here we hang on to the cook's sari, asking, oh when, oh when, oh when. Here our hands become one with what we eat. Later, we all belch in private, fall asleep, our bellies swollen, hungry for something else. This next poem is called Ghazal for Leaving or Staying. Kids ask me about home, as if I know. I'm rain-threshed, cot-swamped, all my syllables mispronunciations. I've got no tongue for ordinary devotion. Yeah, I can make it seem grand, plump the horizon with forts. I can pluck the Himalayas, plant them in this classroom, weave a Ganga of my devotion. Do you have an R or 30, a blank book, some volumes, a tiny flute for my words? No clouds, please. Turns out silence too is a devotion. I didn't know the English names for spices until I moved to America. Who knew coriander was cilantro, was dhania? Haldi, not turmeric, is devotion. Jeera, not cumin, is desperate. I don't know why. I pray in Hindi, in English, in a language I realized was Sanskrit from Google. Devotion is in dictionaries, is in my gauze of Hindi idioms. A vague swap. I'm trying. The kids here can't tell the difference. Is pretending devotion? All this time I'd been praying to God, but really it was to home, not nation. A jute bag balanced on my hips, small pakoras stuffed with devotion, sometimes a matcha latte. I eat devotion, I brew devotion, paint my nails in devotion, my eyelids bronze, mermaid blue, purple devotion. I dress devotedly, I devote my time to smoothing the knots in my hair. I lace rum and cokes with devotion. My aloe vera plant sings devotion. I kneel, curl into commas of devotion. Everywhere I leave sticky, a honey tulsi paste of devotion. Fold both my flags, practice devotion. Light candles of devotion, the scent along sunset. Invite the neighbors in for a meal I did not make, hot as stars. We eat across a table of devotion. I say my name again and again until I'm no longer sure what I hear. Urvi, Urvi, I say it despite not knowing. Urvi, the only devotion that stays. This is the last poem. It's called Still Life with Grief. It's for my dadi. I learned the shape of grief is my grandmother's bottle of hajmola resting on a table. Pungent, sour, we held the pills on our tongues to say farewell. I know now that the taste of grief is the last jar of achar she made, the dripping pickles, bright hollows in our open mouths. I was afraid to swallow too soon. Grief can be measured in bags of flour and kilos of okra and ladles of ghee. Grief can be calibrated in lists, in my mom and aunt's small cursive. Despite my presumptions, it turns out that what you say to the grieving does matter in the end. Grief sounds like the radio turned to an oldies Bollywood station from 6 a.m. till the nighttime, cradled in the bed that Dadi could hardly ever leave. Even death demands the simple business of living, so we carried out its commands. We were all ashamed for laughing. My Dada's abuses filled the husk of a house. We giggled despite the pit forming in our bellies. It was confirmed that grief can fit into a purse, as long as there's red lipstick and cubes of orange toffee and jewelry that now gathers dust and shine. We huddled together in Dadi's room. Our stories collapsed in our palms. We gave them to each other to hold. I heard her, loud, probably complaining, insisting that we eat from her own 2 hands. Thank you.
Can we just give them more applause?
That was so awesome.